Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Vedic Living. Today, I want to talk to you about a company that has been in the news lately. It's the company called Boeing. They create or they build, manufacture aircrafts for major airlines around the world. And as you know, they have been in the news lately because of a lot of conspiracy and scandals. So what we'll do today is, from an astrological standpoint, we will see if this is showing up in the chart for Boeing from a purely educational standpoint, because typically when companies or major organizations go through such difficulties in the industry, there is going to be something that shows up in the chart, because the chart of a company is the same as the chart of a human being, right? So when you go through tough situations in your life, you will see difficult transits in your chart. Similarly, for companies, the same thing. So we'll be looking at the chart of Boeing, and of course we have their the first flight date, and we'll also be looking at some other charts to make sure to kind of see if this is echoing in various areas. So before we go into that, I do want to remind you about my website, www.vedic-living.com. And or if you go on my website and sign up for my free newsletter, I am sending out newsletters every week now. So you will have more written predictions coming directly to your inbox, completely free of charge. So make sure you take that opportunity and sign up for my newsletter. And so now let's go into the chart of Boeing and see what's going on there. So Boeing's chart is the chart of their first date, the first flight that they had, which is February 1969. This is very interesting because in 1969 was when man landed on moon for the first time. So it seems to be that year had a lot of progression or developments in terms of air travel and space travel and such things. So when you look at this chart, you will see exactly why that is the case. Because in Boeing's chart, you can see that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, very close, between 10 and 11 degrees. And whenever this conjunction happens, there are these big strides in terms of air travel, because Uranus rules air travel, space exploration, breakthroughs and major scientific breakthroughs and technology. And Jupiter, as always, expands it. Whatever Jupiter sits with, it expands it. So with Jupiter and Uranus coming together, this is actually showing us the incredible expansion of air travel and space travel in that year. And the same thing would have applied for when man landed on moon in the same year. It was around July or August, I believe, 1969, when that happened. So that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is very important. And if you can remember, last month we had this exact same conjunction happening. And this is why I have been saying that there could have been these huge strides in space exploration and air travel and those kind of things. So that's always what happens when this conjunction happens. So now if you look at this chart, there are a lot of things that are going on in this chart that's getting triggered right now. So let's look at that one by one. So the first thing I notice right off the bat is the ascendant of this chart. You notice how the ascendant is 4 degrees of Taurus. Now, I have spoken about this in the past. This is the point in sky around 0 to 2 degrees or 3 degrees is the point in sky where there is a very treacherous star called Algol. Now, this particular star, the symbology or the mythology behind it indicates beheading, but spiritually or symbolically, it means losing your mind. So when you have a goal in the chart, what happens is either, whatever person or individual in your life that planet is ruling has very, very extreme emotions or can be very erratic at times, or it could mean that that applies to you. But at the same time, if you see it in a company's chart, especially with that ascendant being on a goal, it can mean extremes in terms of growth and breakdown, right? Both things can be very extreme. Algol is a very treacherous star. The ascendant being there is by itself a big indicator of, there could be big scandals and those kind of things happening in this company's lifetime. But what is really interesting is that in the coming months, in the coming couple of months, so now we are sitting in the month of May, so between May, June, July, there are going to be a lot of transits on that particular star. And this is actually the reason why for the next couple of months, a lot of astrologers, including myself, we have been predicting that there's going to be very strong weather situations around the world. There are going to be earthquakes around the world because there are planets transiting Algol. And Algol is, because it symbolically means losing your mind, people are very angry when there are transits on Algol. Okay. There you will see a lot of protesting and riots, which we are already seeing everywhere in colleges, everywhere we are seeing students protesting. And this is the reason for it, because there are planets transiting Algol. You lose your mind. You lose your common sense. You don't think clearly. So in the month of July, Mars is going to be transiting this ascendant in this chart, which means that in the month of July and August, there can be huge revelations about this company that's coming out where, problems can happen, right? Whatever is happening now can get exposed. Things can come out into the open. Now, after that, Uranus is going to be on this 4-degree. So remember, I was telling you there are multiple planets transiting this 4-degree mark in Taurus. And each time a planet transits that mark, that means that there is going to be a major event or some kind of scandal or something that is really bothering this company in the public. Okay, so one, we have Mars that is transiting it in July. The second thing is Uranus is going to transit it also. That means that Uranus rules unexpected events, sudden unexpected events. So a lot of these scandals and conspiracies and these things can really come to a head when Uranus is transiting. Now, as we speak right now, your question could be, why are these events happening right now if these transits are happening in July? Well, there's another reason for that, because notice where the Rahu is in this chart. Rahu is placed in the 11th house, and 11th house is your public recognition, right? People recognize who you are. Rahu is placed there, and Mars is transiting it. Whenever Mars transits that point, Rahu, which is happening right now as we speak, actually the past couple of weeks it has been there, it brings major upheavals and anger against this particular person or company, right? This is a company. And there's going to be a lot of repercussions in society because 11th house rules your social kind of status, right? It's your how people perceive you. It's how you are in society. And Mars is transiting it. That's the reason why these things are happening now. On top of that, there's another big thing that's happening if you haven't already noticed it. Boeing, the company, is going through its nodal return, which means transiting Rahu is on Boeing's Rahu and transiting Ketu is on Boeing's Ketu, which means a nodal return is a time of karmic retribution. Always. The nodes rule karma in your lifetime. Whenever you go into a nodal return, it is showing a new shift in your life. From a karmic standpoint, it brings a lot of things that have happened in the past 19 years, which can come out into the open and be questioned. And that's the reason why I think a lot of this upheaval is happening in this company and how people perceive it. There's also been a lot of complaints about the maintenance of the aircrafts. There's been so many incidents where these aircrafts are having problems or mechanical issues, and that seems to be because of the maintenance. So you see how much conspiracy, how much scandal is surrounding this company. We don't know how much of it is true, but you can see in the chart that there is a lot of upheaval going on right now, right? Now, another major thing that's also going on is notice the Jupiter. Ketu is going to be transiting the Jupiter in Boeing's chart, which is in Virgo, between the months of October and December this year. This is another major important thing, because Jupiter in this chart rules the 8th house of scandals and conspiracy and humiliation and those kind of things. So when Ketu goes over it, that is another big karmic outcome of these of events of this nature, which, where there is mysterious things happening, things are hidden, things are being exposed, there are scandals, there are conspiracies. All these things are happening when Ketu transits the Jupiter towards the end of this year. Now, I also looked at the stock chart for Boeing. You can look at the chart of a company when it first traded, and you can kind of see how that company is doing health-wise, okay? And when I look at the stock chart, there is a major indication here that there could be problems with this company's stock in the coming months, especially going towards the end of the year. Notice where Boeing's sun is. It's in Leo, around 18 degrees. Now, what's going to happen is Saturn, towards the end of the year, is going to station in Aquarius at 18 degrees, 18 to 19 degrees. When a planet stations, it's a very important event in the sky. When it stations, it is going to directly oppose the sun in Boeing's chart. This is very important because Saturn will be transiting in Boeing's 10th house, right, of public recognition, public status, what people think of you, the company's career or income, so to speak. And it's going to aspect the sun, which means that there is a very high possibility that this company is in trouble towards the end of the year. So we are looking at this from an astrology standpoint. I'm not reading the news or looking at any of that. I'm just looking at the charts. So from a purely educational standpoint, when you look at this chart and the stock chart, you can see major upheavals happening in this company in the coming months, and especially towards the end of the year. So watch what's happening between May to July and October to December. Those are the time frames when these transits are happening. So we'll just have to watch and see what happens. So I wanted to bring you this particular research about this company just to kind of show you how these transits work. So if you're ever interested in looking at a company's chart or something, you need to first find the date or the time of birth, which means when that company was established. In the case of an airline company, we are using the date of when the first flight happened. And then you can also look at the stock chart to see what is happening in the stock chart. But these things are very telling about what this company is going through. So thank you very much for watching my video, and I'll see you next time.